This is a video addressing repower of a Husqvarna Z4218 zero-turn mower. I bought this mower a couple of years back and was utilizing it, and it worked beautifully. But it developed a head gasket leak. So, the engine ran really well, but it just, you could actually feel the leak with your fingers, and it was starting to bog out under load. So I went ahead and attempted to change the head gasket. However, one of the bolts broke off inside the cylinder head, and the cylinder head in these Kohler Courage engines is like connected to the crankcase. It's all one piece. So, I did in fact install a new head gasket, and I bolted it all together minus the bolt that was stuck in there. But after that, I had some trouble starting. I think I might have knocked the valve adjustment out of timing. I was going to pull the valve cover gasket off and try adjusting the valves, but I figured, the body of the mower is beautiful and it's served me well. I figured I'd go ahead with the repower. So I found on eBay a Kohler Courage 16 horse. The next size up from this, I believe, was the 20, and it's a V-twin motor. This is a single cylinder motor. So size-wise, it looks to be a perfect match, and I'm hoping that the engine mount bolts are a match as well. Now, I opened this in the box and took a look at the wiring harness, and I see 6 pins with 4 pins with 4 pinholes occupied. And then I disconnect the wiring harness on the Z4218, and I see what appears to be similar. So I'm pretty giddy. If I can unbolt this sucker, put the new engine in, and just plug and play, boy, this will be one of the easiest, funnest repowers I've ever done. I'm gonna push this mower into the garage, tie the ass end of it to the lift, get her up in the air, and remove the accessories underneath. There's an electric clutch and a drive pulley as well. And there's some videos out there on YouTube that explain removal of the drive clutch and the drive pulleys. It's pretty easy. This is your wiring harness to the drive clutch. It unplugs very simply, and then you just, you stuff this wire underneath and just pull the whole thing down. And then, there's disconnecting the gas lines, throttle cables and choke cables and whatnot. So without further ado, I'll get her in the garage and get started. Here we have the zero turn attached to the lift, and the back end is raised. You don't need a lift to lift this back end in the air. You could very easily use a floor jack or even a mower lift. But I chose to do this for 2 reasons. A, it grants me more access. And B, I want to show off my lift because I've got a pretty nice 4-post, and I've had it for about 10 years. It's the most amazing thing I've ever invested in. But that's a separate topic. Now, the undercarriage of the zero turn, this is the mower clutch, the deck clutch, I guess you would call it, or blade clutch. It's an electric clutch, and this cord goes up and through the deck. I had unplugged it in the first video. So there's a center bolt. Loosen that with impact, which I'd recommend, and it fell right down. Before I did that, of course, I removed this belt. I had to, in order to remove the tension from that belt, I had to pull on the tensioner. You'll see I have a tie down off onto the right-hand side of the machine, and I just wrapped it around the arm of this tensioner and pulled it so that it gave us enough slack to get that belt off. I'm going to remove the belt for the drive system, and that was actually pretty easy, so I wonder if I have a problem up there. This belt might not be tight enough. I'll get to that later, but at any rate, once this pulley is out, I can I can undo the bolts to the engine and pretty much lift the engine off of the zero turn. I think the only other two things I'll need to do are disconnect the gas line and disconnect the positive battery terminal, which is underneath here. Going back to the engine, the new engine, this Kohler 16 horse has a fuel filter, a fuel pump. It's pretty much got all the goodies. The throttle and I believe this is an automatic choke engine, and the throttle attaches here, so this should be a pretty straightforward setup. I'll see when I get to that part, but at any rate, this part of the procedure was light opera. You just got to get access and have at it. Okay, so the pulley removed from the shaft from underneath. The pulley on this shaft had no set screw. The sucker was just, I guess when you attach these, you must just slide it up and it rests into place. I had to use a 2-jaw puller. The 3-jaw I couldn't quite get to grab a hold, but the 2-jaw worked. The problem is I damaged the pulley. So I may try to bend it back, or I may see if I can source another pulley. I haven't decided yet. But the engine's out. A little cleaning up to do there, detail the engine compartment, and shortly I will bring the new engine in and drop her into place. So we're there. It was the electric clutch and this pulley. Kids are doing a little work of their own. And there's no set screw, which was frustrating at first because I was trying to find one, but when I was convinced I couldn't find one, I just went ahead and used the 2-jaw puller, and as you can see, a little damage, but it's lightweight. I'm sure it's a pretty affordable part. I'll just have to source another one. Engine is installed. Gas line connected nicely. The new engine has its own fuel pump. It also has its own throttle assembly, so that the throttle cable bolted right on, and it looks like when you apply full throttle, there's a choke mechanism, so that's good. Don't have to worry about that. Ground to one of the motor mounts, and a positive cable to the starter from the battery. From the battery solenoid, the starter solenoid, I should say. So, do have to fill it with oil. Don't forget that. And what surprised me was that the motor mount bolt holes were not threaded. I thought that was some type of defect, but I got online and it turns out that they don't thread these. So you use either self-tapping bolts, or you can tap it yourself. I used the bolts that I had because they're hardened steel, and they tightened up just fine. But there are some horror stories of tappers breaking off in there. I went online and read, and I decided to do it this way. And it's a little more work because it's hard to get a ratchet in there. I would just maybe add a little oil. I didn't add oil to the motor mount holes, but it's probably not a bad idea to do that, and just do it by hand. It's a little bit more work, but impact, you could get into trouble. But we're hooked up, and I just need to add oil, attach the muffler, and and then of course attach my belt pulleys. The belt pulley that was on there, I had bent it with the jaw puller, but I put it in the vise and just bent it back. The sheaves on this puller were really malleable, and it looks pretty straight. I think it'll be okay. I'm not going to buy another one. I'll use this one, and I think that's it. We just got to slap her back together, and I'll get the wifey out here to hold the camera, and we'll give her a cold start. So the repower is complete. The engine's been installed. All of the accessories have been installed. The battery's hooked up. I've filled it with oil. I've attached the gas line, and we're ready to do a cold start. So if you want to come on and take a look, fuel line, throttle cable, all attached very easily. This electric plug, which attached to the Husqvarna plug attached to the Kohler plug, and I plugged it in. The pins lined up, so I'm pretty sure that this is a plug-and-play situation, and if it is, that's fabulous. I attached a little hour meter here because I'm going to watch this engine and maintain it properly. Here you can see the old engine. That's the blown motor. And I'll tell you, if you don't have a blown motor on your garage floor that's gushing oil, you ain't living. That's pretty much it. So we're going to hop on this baby and turn the key and see that she starts. Fuel line's got a prime, so it might take a couple of turns. So bear with me. Come on, girl. Well, the hydro drive is struck, but she runs. So there you have it. It's a repower of Husqvarna Z4218. She's got a new engine and she's got plenty of life left in her, as long as I can get her to drive straight. And here she is in all her glory. Have her hooked up, been running her. She starts and runs beautifully. Had to adjust the levers, the drive system. It's pulling to one side. The engine's gorgeous. A little crack, some damage during delivery. No big deal. I reused my old muffler because the new muffler hung out this way, and there is a bagger attachment for this that I don't use, but I'd like the correct muffler anyways. I had to put a little bead on there because the heat shield was shaking. But she runs beautiful. It's really nice and quiet. It's plenty of power and perfect for my needs. So I'm going to start her up. A little demonstration. So there you have it. It's the repower of a Kohler Z4218, the Kohler Courage 16. It's a great engine. I'd recommend it. Got it on eBay, and that's about it. Thank you very much.